will introduce our next panelists as I bring them up on stage. We have incredible David Cordover, Simon Lau, and Sahir. Let's get started with a bit of intro. So up from the top, right down to the bottom. So David, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your company does, and how you got into doing this in this field?
Sure. So I dropped out of school at 15 and started running businesses. That's basically how it all started. And had last 25 years in various different industries: education, health promotion, e-commerce, and at the moment I'm running kind of two main businesses. One's a startup, very new. It's only been around since the start of COVID, really, which is a kind of event management platform for competitive communities called Tornelo.com. And I've got an education business called Kids Unlimited, which is just running education programs in schools in partnership with schools. And then there's a few other things like Foost, which is a health promotion business, which is pivoting thanks to COVID, and some other stuff that's going on. So, yeah. Done some angel investing and mentoring in the last few years as well. So kind of across all sorts of different things.
Thanks, Jessica, for having me. Good to see David, Simon. So I am an AI scientist by training. I've spent more than a decade now working in the space of digital pathology. How do we incorporate AI and look at the cancer workflow, their unmet needs? And so how does AI sort of start answering some questions about who should get what treatment, and is it going to be personalized? At the same time, I sort of had a parallel career. I started off as a quant at Wall Street, left that to sort of pursue the PhD in this space, but at the same time, I got into the Salesforce world early on back in 2008. And so I ended up developing my own practice. So I run that in parallel. I worked with large enterprise in deploying Salesforce and now actually AI and that integrated customer experience.
My name is Simon Lau. I'm the VP of product at Otter.ai. So my journey started, I guess, after graduating from MIT. I started my software engineer career, spent about 7+ years climbing up the engineering ladder, and decided that I wanted to transition to product management and never turn back. So I've been building products that are utilizing speech and AI technology, and have seen many generations of the maturing technology for speech to text transcription. So fast forward to the last 4 years, I've been spending my time at Otter.ai, and that's where we're utilizing artificial intelligence to apply to the problem of transcribing long-form conversation.
What kind of tips do you think you could give someone when kind of going for an interview or applying for a job? What are the key things that you've ever had to look at if ever you've recruited talent, this sort of thing? What tips would you give someone, or in your career, that you've used?
So from the perspective of candidates who are sitting in and interviewing for a job, I've got to say I've never been on that side of the table. So I'm always the interviewer, never been the interviewee. But I would definitely say that some of the things that the mistakes that I see people make is that they don't tell a story. So you want to make sure that you're kind of elaborating. You're not just answering the question. If someone says, tell me some of your experience, you don't just give the answer and that's it, but actually try and tell a bit of a story, provide some context. And what an interviewer is looking for is kind of the situation that we're in, to understand that context, to then look at the actions that you took. What did you do, and then what were the results at the end? That whole SAR model of interviewing: SAR, situation, action, result. So I would suggest to your candidates, like, tell the story. Don't answer the question, but kind of tell the story that gives the person that you're interviewing with a bit more context to know how you think and how you operate. Because at the end of the day, I think most recruiters and most people who are interviewing for a job, they're looking not for what you can do, but for who you are. And if you get a person who's a really good person, who's got the right values, the right mindset, the right way of thinking, you can teach them all the rest of the stuff. That's easy.
Regurgitating what's on the resume is a waste of time. The most interviewers who have read your resume already, what you want to look for is what is it that you want to tell me in the next few minutes, and I think emotional presence, having that context of who you're interviewing, doing your sort of homework on who you're talking to is something I would say is very important. And when it comes to the technical interview, I think it really, again, even that piece of storytelling with the technical interviews is very important. You can have a technical answer, but if you can actually be in concise way and sort of give a picture that you understand, not just the technical aspect but the applications of it, it's a very huge bonus. And I've seen a lot of technical interviews just sort of regurgitating textbook definitions rather than making it more applicable, contextual. It's very seldom you could be an individual contributor, but you're working in a team. And so I typically structure my interviews, even technical ones, with some behavioral questions. And I like to ask, tell me about a time where you were in a situation where you had to manage a conflict. And these are some important skill sets. And you could be the best programmer, but if you if you're contributing with a team, then the entire team depends on that sort of that dynamic. So I think having that behavioral interpersonal skills are extremely important.
Coming from my own experience, I think there's really no shortcut about it. Very rarely you can just, there's like a silver bullet that you can climb up the ladder. You really have to have the experience, have the knowledge, have the skill set, and have the passion to be able to expand and exceed the expectation of what you do with what you're given to do, and continue to grow your expertise so that you can take on more, so that you become that trusted partner in the organization, so that you're doing your job and exceeding the expectation for your job. And your responsibility will continue to grow. And once you've shown that you're able to lead a team and drive some initiative beyond the scope of what you're given, your manager and the leadership will take notice, and then you're responsible. You will be able to climb up the ladder.
That'll really vary business to business and depending on the maturity of the business. So definitely in startups, what you're looking for is flexibility. Flexibility of thought, flexibility of personality. You don't want someone who's got, well, where's the documentation manual? Where's the rules and regulations that we're going to follow here? Because they just don't exist. And so, you're really looking for somebody who has got kind of, I guess, creativity in a way where they can just go, well, you talk about independence and things, but it's really about that creativity, that flexibility of thought, so that they can do something in a new and different way, and don't get stressed out when the very next day you're like, how I told you to do ABC, forget it. Now we're doing CBA.
It's what initiatives you've taken, and there's real good ways of demonstrating that as your brand, even though you're just putting a foot in the door of these platforms. And the way to do that is you can go to these. Every of these cloud platforms have their own learning platforms, and you can tie those badges and the learnings you've done to your LinkedIn. And so, and those are real ways of showcasing that you've actually gone in and created a portfolio. Now, in other cases, it could be your GitHub, it could be a blog you've written. There are many ways of demonstrating that you are trying to build your portfolio. And so those indicate to me, especially for someone who's actually trying to break into these newer frontiers. It's one way I typically I get encouraged if I'm reviewing a resume.
So I just want to add to everything that I heard. I resonate with it. To add to what Sahir and David and you, Jessica, said. Look, whether it's technology or business and industry, is poised to disrupt and innovate at any given moment. So the mindset of continuous learning, it's a given, right? So you basically just have to keep your skills fresh, whether it is technical or non-technical career. So that's really a given. So being able to show that you have the proactive initiative. And then in terms of from a startup, you just have to have that tenacity and grit and that show that you can thrive with ambiguity. In ambiguity, right? Oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. You have to be able to dive into the work environment and be given some loosely defined tasks and requirements and be able to come up with solutions.
The key skills, that communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, they're the 21st century skills, are absolutely what's needed. But I think what we should be looking for is then this next phase of education, which is going to be values-based education or mindset attitude. So it's not just about what skills you have; it's about the mindset that you're coming in with. So, I mean, what skills? Where do you go to get them? It's very hard to say. Well, where do you learn? Where do you learn communication? Where do you learn to collaborate with people? You just go and do it most of the time. And so, go give a presentation. Speak at a podcast, do whatever you can do to practice. And so come and talk to me. If you're looking for a job, come and talk to me and say, look, this is what I'm learning at the moment. This is what I want to learn next. This is what I'm working on. This is what I've done. Here's how I've actually executed on things.
That's really, really useful advice. And I love that you touched on creativity, because even if you are a technical person, personality and creativity is still really important. And that's what sort of sets you apart. Like the executives and the senior people of the world, they often have those other attributes. If you can start looking at building that, and then you meet different kind of people to collaborate and communicate with.
You got to find, I would say, that entrepreneurial gene within you, not just to start a business, but that allows you to continuously run. I mean, if you're learn, continuously apply yourself into wide domains, and I think that's critical in everything you do. And so I think gone are the days where you get out of a school, you join a big company, and you stay there for a couple of decades, and you hope to climb the ladder. I think all that is, I think, a little bit behind.
Be really broad, right? You really want to be good at one thing, and so you can brand yourself, and that's the expertise that you dive in. But at the same time, you go broad so that you might be surprised. You might find some passion, or you might make some connections where something you learn from one industry, but it's that thought that you try to apply to a different industry. Bingo, that's a aha moment. That's never been applied, but it works in one industry. Then who knows? Then that might be a startup idea. So those are the type of things that I think it's very efficient. So, but at the same time, everybody learns differently. So I encourage you to try all the different ways. But at the end of the day, just do it.
That's it. Thank you so much, guys. I'm super excited, and you can find the recording online. Any final words, guys?
Thank you, Jessica, for hosting this event and inviting us. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, this is awesome.
Anytime. Thanks for the hot tips. Guys. Awesome. We will wrap it up here. Thank you so much. I'm going to be ending this live stream. To all that tuned in, I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in. Go to our job interview masterclass. You can book your session. It's all on the website. We're doing that. We've got 3 sessions, so you can pick your time. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great night or day ahead.
Thank you. Bye-bye.